Good to see you.
Alright there, Revenants, welcome back to Code Vein in the Road 100, where today we start our 85th journey into Code Vein, and I just wanted to kind of go over, well, 84 stars, we're working on 85 stars, that means we've done at least 85 times, so it's kind of the 86th run, so however you want to look at whatever we're doing, we're working on 85 stars, we're finishing out 84 stars on this run, so anyways, that is not what I'm here to talk about at all. So, for this star run, what we are going to be running is balanced builds. And you might think that, oh, well, it's balanced, so it's not going to exceed or excel in any one thing, which is correct. But Vein is built in such a way that if you take an average blood code like Skothic here, and then you put regular average things on it, and you pair it with all of the ability sets, all of the information, everything we've learned through these 85 runs, and you start to understand that Vein is very, very much built around not fully engaging in only weapon stuff and not fully engaging in gift stuff. But when you start to mix and match and merge these kinds of things into what I'm calling like an average kind of build, where everything is working to your benefit within the realm that it's meant to be in. For example, we have range here, we have close range, we have very close range, we have very, very close range, we have drain attacks, and we have distance in our bayonet here. So we have everything, and we have ichor recovery in our Blazing Claw here. And so you can see what our drain rating is going to be, 1.28, which is pretty good for a one-handed sword. And so we have some pretty good drain ratings. We have some pretty good damage values. We have very good coverage of the field. And we have some AoE, single target, single target. We have some drains for parries and for some damage, and so we have kind of all of it smashed into one build here. And so as we move along, we are not going to be doing anything particularly spectacular here. We are just going to be simply doing well enough that we can do okay, but we won't be super, crazy overpowered, like one-shotting everything and destroying anybody and everybody at will. So keep that in mind, and even though we do cut down enemies quick here, remember the fact that this is the beginning of the game here. So as we go along, you'll see that we have plenty and super enough for anything and everything we're going to be going up against. So keep that in mind. And you'll see here that as we get ganged up on some enemies and such, we will use kind of all of our ability sets here to our advantage. And so we can, use quick mobility, we can use our gifts, and you can see that because we have so many different options available to us, we can switch between any of the attack requirements or needs, depending on what enemy we're going up against. For example, here we have a long range guy, so we notice we have a couple of our gifts active for charge shots, and so we take advantage of the ichor that we have. And the thing to remember with balanced builds like this is to always, as much as you can, try your best to try and keep your ichor low and keep your cap very high. So you want a cap of, maximum ichor. On this build it's 60, and so you can see here that or 50, we have a cap of 50, and we have that we have a cap of 50 that's possible, and we want to try and get as many backstabs and parries and stuff as we possibly can to try and get as close to that 50 as we can within a reasonable amount of time here. And we want to then keep our consumable ichor as low as possible, because that means that we are expending all of our buffs and all of our gifts and everything as much as possible, so we can take on each of the enemies in an expeditious manner, so we can make sure that everything is just dead immediately. For example, here, you know, 2 gifts into a backstab, very, very, very effective here. And so that is a great way to get rid of these guys quickly and easily, so you don't have too much to worry about. And you can see that we're at 0 ichor, which is fine, because we still have a pretty good damage set in our one-handed sword here, and we can still kill and you know, hold our own here against any kind of enemy. And so we still have the option of backstabs as well. And as you can see there, we just absolutely demolish these guys just because it's the beginning of the game. But we have all the tools that we are going to need at any point in time to deal with as many enemies as we need to. So this guy is here, so we will use a little bit of ichor here to get rid of him. And we can't see the guy on top, so we'll get rid of this guy, we'll get rid of this guy, and we'll try and yeah, we'll just get rid of him. So you can see that because we have the ability to one-shot these guys, our gifts seem like they are completely overpowered. But as we go along and we get through to the rest of the game here and stuff, you'll start to notice that our builds are not specifically suited to destroy any one piece of the game in, you know, a certain kind of manner or whatever. But what you'll notice is that we have plenty of ichor and everything to hold our own in every single situation that we're going to run across. Now there are a variety of enemies in Vayne. Not a huge variety, but there are a variety. There are a very odd smattering of defenses and weaknesses throughout the game. And so if you can keep track of which defenses, which you know, which items are, you know, specifically suited for which kind of things, you can do very, very well in Vayne here. And things like this, where you can kind of mix and match your damage outputs, it really helps you get to a point where for any and all situations you have exactly enough ability sets to take on any enemy, and depending on your need at the moment, you can constantly put out enough damage regardless of what enemy you are going to be coming across. As you see there, we used all of our tools against all of these specific enemies because we had a variety of tools, and that is what Vayne is all about, is having lots and lots of tools and options to work with. And in Vayne, when you limit yourself and you start to put restrictions on what you can use, how many things you can use, what is viable, what is not viable, what's available, what's not available, and you start doing like personalized challenge runs, Vayne falls apart at the seams very quickly and becomes incredibly difficult. But if you play like halfway regular, like we're doing here, the consecutive playthroughs, they just kind of get to an easier point, which is good in my opinion, because the fact that you play the game so much and you get to kind of the end game, you should have, you know, plenty of tools and options and skill and anything to work on, you know, all of these different setups and everything. And going through all of the enemies here, it should feel like, yeah, I've gotten more things, I've learned more stuff, I've gotten more powerful, and I definitely should have the freedom to, you know, actually feel like the fact that I'm actually getting stronger as we go through, and not just the fact that, like, oh well, I'm here at endgame and I've learned all this stuff and I've gotten all these awesome tools and I'm still just as weak as when I first started the game. So that's not a fun feeling. That's not an enjoyable concept for you know, progressing through a game. So Vayne strikes a very wonderful balance of, you know, giving you abilities, giving you wonderful setups where things feel good and they feel very rewarding, no matter what skill level you're at, and no matter what playthrough you're on. You're always going to feel, you're always going to feel that you have all the tools necessary for any situation. And because Vayne was built around the premise of change things up and change your playstyle as you go, change your weapon style, change your skills, change your gifts, change everything from code to code to code to code as you go through the game. It's really important that you get used to that fact when you play Vayne, because Vayne is completely built around that idea of changing and switching and swapping and playing to, you know, very different play styles. Now, again, like I said, you can brute force your way through certain areas, certain weapons, certain bosses, certain ideas, certain skill levels. You can just kind of, you know, put on a big sword and just kind of brute force every single encounter. But Vayne, when you start to play with these, you know, extra special setups and abilities and everything, everything kind of changes some understanding of what you're actually doing in the game. And like this, we learned from the Skull King. We'll just back up. We learned that last time. And so when we have enough ichor here, we can just continually play the dancing game here. And we can switch back to our sword and get some ichor back. And that's what I wanted to do last time. And okay, so he's doing that. So again, we back up and we go for some shots here. Definitely can't survive the overhead slams, so we'll just go for bayonet shots while he's doing that. We'll switch. Oops, that was the wrong one. Okay, good. Oh, we can't deal with that, so we'll switch back to the bayonet. And you can see that when you have the tools and you make a build that's very well balanced around, you know, what am I going up against? What are the weaknesses? And sorry for that 3-minute delay there with Oliver, but I got distracted with my own thoughts. But you can start to understand Vayne from a much more balanced perspective when you play with all the tools that Vayne gives to you, and then the game almost becomes really basic and simple. It's like, oh, if I just have one or two, if I have one or two gifts, like castable gifts, and then I have one, maybe not one, weapon kind of gift, And then you have a bunch of support gifts that specifically try and reinforce what you're going for in your active gifts. And then you have some good supports here in the inactive gifts that, again, just support these active gifts. And then you try and pair up your weapons to cover a great variety of the field. For example, here we have long range and we have short range, and so those two kind of go well together. Other things that, excuse me, you can go for is having some kind of blocking setup, and then go for something that has a lot of special abilities like the Damarung. So you could go for something that blocks and hits hard, and then something that goes quick and is fairly light on the stamina consumption. So you can start to mix and match in such a way where things pair off of each other and they play well with each other. And when you're mixing and matching basic active gifts with a whole bunch of support gifts, these very few active gifts here all of a sudden become really, really incredible as time goes on. And also knowing your level and what you're going up against. As you can see here, we went for fire and lightning and piercing, and we were able to make quick work of pretty much everything in the level. So as long as you hit the high points with your build and you average it out, don't go fully into weapons, or don't go fully into gifts only. Either one of those are fun in their own right and they have their place, but as an average playthrough of Vayne, when you mix and match these amongst themselves, you have pretty astronomical results. Unless you're going for like one-shot builds on bosses, but then that's not mixing and matching the adventuring part with the bossing part. So these are kind of those average builds that you can kind of go through that do well all around, just because of the fact that you have good weapons and good gifts all paired together, and you're not exclusively relying on one or the other to get you out of certain situations. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.